Hello, good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Right now I'm just taking a walk through the garden and just kind of checking on everything and seeing how everything is doing. It's about 8:30 in the morning right now, and I like to get this stuff done before the heat of the day really starts. Everything is looking like it's doing pretty darn good. Now I don't know if you remember from our last video, we did extend the garden to 40 by 40. It's a little bigger when you add in the berry patch. That's probably another 20 by 20, so it's pretty big this year. And I'll just give you a look around and so you can see what we got going on. Here's some of my cucumber plants. Some of them are actually ready to harvest, my little picklers. I like to grow them on a tomato cage, if you can see. Kind of keeps them, up off the ground and less likely to get some of the diseases that cucumbers tend to get. Now this here is a squash plant. I believe, oh look, some bees in there. You see the bees? I did not mean to plant that there. It's my very first time planting squash, so I think I got it mixed up with the cucumbers. And there's a cucumber right down there that's ready to go. And somehow or another, I got some voluntary Yukon potatoes to grow this year that I had planted last year. So that's one of my voluntary potatoes right there. I really didn't want to move it. and then here is, and then here's the other one. So those are voluntary. They just popped up and I'm like, hey, we'll just let it keep going. Then we put in little beds. This is one of them. This got all my cabbages in it. I just recently transplanted these tomato plants. So that's why they're looking a little scraggly like that. They'll be all right. They'll bounce back. It just takes them a little while. This little guy here is an asparagus. And it takes a couple of years for them to grow. I already harvested one head of cabbage and it was divine. I mixed it with some pork and seasonings and stuff and it was so good. But I just want to show you something. So I had some real problems with the little green worms, the little moth caterpillars. You can see. So every morning I have to come out here and pick them off. They're not as bad as they were, but this is where I harvested the little cabbage, and you can see all these little cabbages growing back. They look like little teeny tiny Brussels sprouts. And then in between the leaves too, you'll see them poking out. They're all doing pretty good now. I think I've pretty much got the cabbage worm under control now. Like I said, I just come out here and pick them, make sure it stays grass free around them as best as I can. Seems like the grass out here is a never ending battle. Here's some of the green beans that we're growing. And that's peppers, serrano peppers right down the middle. And then here's my big bucket of potatoes. Trying it in a container this year. Here's another row of tomatoes. These are all different varieties. Roma, cherry, big beef. There's tomatoes on both sides of the fence. There. Trying pruning them for the very first time in my whole life. I never pruned them before. We got another row of peppers, cayenne, jalapeno, serrano, um, all different kinds. These are tomatillos. Tomatillos are some of my favorite. If you ever hear of salsa verde, they're made with tomatillo. And then we just have the big corn patch. So I did try the Three Sisters method. If you've never tried it before, this will give you kind of an idea of what it consists of. So this is the Three Sisters method right here. I have a corn stalk right here, my corn stalk. And then I have pole beans growing up it. And I'm just training them to vine around the corn stalk. And then here is one of my squash plants. And that is growing at the bottom. And you just let your green bean use the corn stalk. There's more. You just let the green bean use the corn stalk for, like a trellis for it to grow up. And you have to come out and train them. You have to come out and wrap them around. This is a really good one that's wrapped around real well. And you have to come out like every day, every other day, and just, like here's a little vine. So I'll just wrap it around the corn like that. And it'll grow straight up the corn. And then you put your squash at the bottom, like this one. And you just kind of, let it grow around the bottom of the plant. I actually planted melons, a couple of cucumbers, and some squash around my corn. I planted a wide variety of things. But yeah, so it's working out pretty good. And the nitrogen from the green bean plant really helps, keep the corn healthy. So that works out really well. This is our first year growing pinto beans as well. And when I was looking into it before I did it, it said that it would take like 90 to 150 days or something like that for the pinto bean to grow. So this is pinto beans all down through there. They're just like a regular pole bean. They grow like a regular pole bean. And here's one of the bean pods. This looks like, regular old pole bean. So my chore for today is I'm going to harvest some of these cucumbers so that we can pickle them. And I'm going to clean a bunch of the grass out of my berry patch over here. Kind of let it grow so that I could throw it in the chicken coop. We've harvested all the berries already. And we have a bunch of sunflowers and some grapes and things like that growing over there. So yeah, that's what the job for today is. So let me show you around what we call the berry patch. It is very overgrown right now. Like I said, the grass is a never-ending battle, never ending. But we have a bunch of sunflowers, and then we have a blueberry bush. Along this fence here is my wild roses for the rose hips. They didn't really sprout too much this year because they were so little. I have mullein, and then over here is some more mullein. I have quite a few that I transplanted over here. I tried to keep them all in a little group if I could. Here's another one. And then I also have a raspberry bush. I have two of them. Another one. And then over here I have the grape. And there's another one. Now that one over there looks pretty rough, I know. He dried out pretty bad, but it's still alive. It's still kicking. And then these are the original blackberries that I transplanted. It's hard to see them with all the grass, I know. But we're going to get that cleaned out today. At least, if nothing else, around my berries. We kind of just let the grass go over here only because we want to put it in the chicken run so they can scratch through it and turn it into some nice juicy compost. It was a little article I had read online about using your grass clippings because it's pretty good for the chickens. They like to eat it and they like to dig through it and they can turn it into compost. And it also helps keep their little feet cool because they regulate their temperature through their feet. So instead of constantly being out here spraying it, making sure it stays cool, I can just put some grass in there and it'll help it stay cool and they get to dig through it. They love to dig and scratch. So that's what the big project for today is, to try and get a bunch of this grass up. Definitely not all of it, but at least some around the plants. Hey, little girls, I got some num-nums for you. You guys want some grass? Here, here's some grass for you guys. There you go. There you go. Tear it up. They look excited. Okay, I'm gonna go get you some more. Starting to get pretty humid out here too. I keep sweating and sweating and sweating. It's not that it's hot, it's just very humid. Uh, that time of year, I suppose. But yeah, if you're not willing to sweat your butt off, then I would say gardening probably isn't for you. You get pretty dirty and pretty sweaty. It is what it is, I guess, right? It's worth it. All right, I'm gonna get just a little bit more of this grass done, and then we are gonna harvest the cucumbers, and then we are gonna go pickle some cucumbers. Sounds good, yeah? There you go. You like that string? All right. That'll give you something to scratch through for a while, huh? Enjoy. Doo-doo-doo. Well, I think that's it for the cucumbers. There's a few more on there, but they need to get a little bigger before we can harvest them. So let's go make some pickles. Okay, well, I came in, got myself cleaned up a little bit. I don't like to mess with food when I'm still all covered in dirt and mud and whatnot. We're going to clean these cucumbers up, get these jars washed up, and then we'll get some pickles made. Got some beautiful cucumbers today. These are going to be dill pickles. Nobody really in the family really likes sweet pickles, or I think my oldest son likes the, what are they called? Bread and butter pickles or something they're called. The rest of us don't really care for them. I'll make him up a batch of his little bread and butter pickles later. Now I'm gonna just put some vinegar, regular white vinegar, in cool water. Just a couple gloves. And I'm just gonna let these sit in here for a minute. Put this big old pot of water on it. Pickles are honestly one of my favorite foods. Dill pickles. Me and my cousin, we used to eat dill pickle and peanut butter sandwiches. Oh, they were so good. I still eat them. I still eat them once in a while. Not as often as I did when I was a kid, but I still eat them. I'm gonna fill this up with some hot water now. And even though my jars and stuff are clean, I'm just gonna wash them again just to make sure. Get my lids. If you don't have a little tote with all your cannon lids and rings in it, are you really a canner? Really? I'm just kidding. So I reuse my lids too a lot. I always like to go through and make sure they're good. And as long as they're good, I will keep them down here for my cans, my canned preserved food. And if not, then I use them for other things, like my dried herbs and stuff like that. Because I'll put my dried herbs in I put my dry herbs in mason jars and stuff like this one. And it's got a couple little spots in it, so now I'll just take it upstairs and use it for my herbs and things like that. So let's wash these cans out real quick. I'm using this to make my brine with. There's a recipe on the back. Like I was saying, last year I made pickles and I tried a brine recipe I found online and it was not very good. And I didn't use pickle crisp. I didn't realize that you really needed it. And so when I went to open them this summer, they were terrible. I'm not even gonna lie, they were terrible. So I went and got this too. It's pickle crisp. It says extra crunch, and it's just calcium chloride. It says it just gives it a crunch. It replaces the need for pickling lime to create crisp and crunchy pickles and vegetables. It is much easier to use and eliminates the time-consuming soaking process required with pickling lime. So we'll give her a try. I'm going to get my jars hot. Got them all washed and cleaned. Now I'm going to put them in this hot water. Well, it's not hot yet. It will be. I learned the hard way about not packing hot stuff in hot jars. Last year. Wow, that was a real learning curve last summer. I broke a couple of jars because I didn't get the jars hot first. So I was going to tell you the little story about my granddaughter and the sunflowers. I really wanted her to learn about plants. In one of my other videos, I had talked about I was going to give her her own plants to take care of. And so the first step was, I felt like the first step was letting her plant some seeds so that she learned that, how the process goes. You plant a seed in some dirt and you add some water and a little sunlight and boom, bada bing, there you go. So that's what I did. I gave her some sunflowers because I knew they would come up really fast. And so that's what I did. And so all the sunflowers I have out in the berry patch is what she planted. And she was so very excited to plant them. And also our blackberries that came in, we didn't get enough to make any jellies or anything this year. I figure we'll get some next year though. We should have a lot next year. But the grandkids, her and her brother, got to go out and pick the berries right off the vines and eat them right off the vines. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's just a real life lesson, My goal is to make sure that they don't realize that they learned how to garden. I want them to just grow up knowing certain things. Pretty soon she'll be helping me can. I know her mom wants to learn how to do it, but she's a little bit pregnant right now, so she gets hot real easy. When I'm in here making jelly or canning up food, it gets really hot in here. But she gets hot really easy. I'm sure you can imagine. She's right at 8 months pregnant. Her baby's due next month. We're all really super excited about that. Brand new baby. The little girl. So I have 2 little girls and a little boy. And then Jadabug is getting married in October. So who knows, maybe this time next year we're going to have another little baby on the way. Because I know they want to start a family pretty soon, right after they get married. Her and her fiance have known each other for several years. He was good friends with my boys growing up, my sons. And he was good friends with them. And so him and Jada have always known each other about 10, 12 years or so. And they just decided, hey, why not? Let's go out on a date. Let's see what happens. If we like each other, we'll keep dating. If we don't, then we won't. Because they kind of always liked each other a little bit. But so they did. And they had a good time and continued dating, and now they're getting married. So got a big wedding we're planning. About 200 people is what we're guesstimating. Who knows how many will really show up, but we're planning on about 200 people. So that's really exciting. I don't know about you, but I want to take a bite of one of these cucumbers and see how it tastes, honestly. Fries taste like a cucumber. Man, cucumbers out of the garden are so much better than what you get at the store. I just love them. Couldn't believe they came on so early. Maybe it's not early, and maybe last year they just came on late. Yeah, we're just cutting these up into spears. I'm gonna look into how to make relish. I use a lot of pickle relish for a lot of things, like homemade tartar sauce. In my potato salad, I use pickle relish. Um, I use it for quite a bit of stuff, actually. Pickle relish dill pickle relish is so good. But yeah, my granddaughter, she's really getting into gardening. She'll be like, Grammy, can we go? We go for a walk in the garden. And you know me, I'm like, sure, baby, come on, whatever you want. And her little brother, right now, he's just learning that you have to stay on the path, which that's what my granddaughter was learning last year, that there's paths you have to stay on. This year it's a little more lined out. I don't have so much squished into such a tiny place. We actually have like little beds and stuff in there now. And hopefully next year we'll have a few more beds. I'd rather have everything up in beds than on the ground if possible. I want to make sure that I can get some really good dirt. I think my dirt has too much clay in it. It seems to dry out really fast. It doesn't hold moisture very well. I'm thinking it's clay because it's kind of hard too. It could be too much sand. I'm not sure, but I'm just really hoping to amend it. I'm hoping to this fall actually get me a dump truck full of really fresh garden dirt. That'll be great. And then just kind of amend everything and then mulch it all over, and then it'll be ready when spring comes next year. You know what? I don't know if I got enough jars cleaned. I might have to wash some more jars. All right. So that's done. Got a good little stack. Let me make the brine real quick. So it says 3/4 cup distilled vinegar, 2 cups of water, and one of these pouches. Put it in a saucepan and bring the mixture to a boil over medium heat. All right, that's what we're gonna do. So I only have a quarter measuring cup. We'll do it 3 times. My liquid measuring cup doesn't have a quarter on there, which is so weird. We'll do 1, 2, okay, 2 cups of water. And then a package of the seasoning. And then we're supposed to mix it constantly, I guess. And that's what it looks like. Looks like good old pickle juice to me. I don't know about you. That's what it looks like to me. Okay, so my jars are probably hot enough. I'm gonna go ahead and take them out. Alright, so I'm going to pack these jars. Alright. I like to have some crunchy pickles, or at least not soggy. Sure you get me. We're going to put like about an eighth of a teaspoon of this crunch stuff in it. My pickles are done processing, so I'm going to put them on this towel right here and let them pop. Look at that. That's some pretty pickles. Alright guys, thanks a lot for hanging out. I will let you know how these pickles turn out and if the chloride granules made a difference or not. I think they will. I hope they will. But I'm gonna go now and start getting dinner ready for Vince. He'll be home soon. You guys have a great rest of your day and thanks a lot for watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so then you know whenever I put on a new video. Alright you guys, I'll see ya. Bye bye.